Hi guys! So I am here today with my lovely wife Nico, and we are going to talk to you a little bit about long distance relationships because it's something that we have a lot of experience with.
Relationships, even when they're not long distance, are complicated, but long distance relationships have like an extra kind of filter to them.
Yeah. And I think if you haven't been in a long distance relationship, you might not know what it's like or what you're getting into. Let's give a little bit of background about us.
Yeah.
Which is that we were long distance for not quite 3 years. It was like 2 3/4.
I'd say
Not to split hairs about it, but
we'll just do 2.
A little over 2 years.
A LDR is
an LDR?
as I like to see. I've seen that on the internet.
I've seen that.
I sure stumbled on my words there.
The kids say that.
Yeah, the kids do say LDR.
LDR. We met in 2014 and we dated long distance until 2017, January, when you moved to Canada. So that's another key part of this is that we didn't
different
even,
countries.
Yeah, we didn't even just live far away. We lived in different countries.
I know lots of people contend with much larger distances, even in the same country.
Yeah.
But still, like, I think when you start getting into any situation where you have to fly or drives kind of break that.
Let's get even beyond distance, though.
That's true.
Doing
the legality.
a different country is like.
It brings into the legality
move.
of it.
Yeah,
exactly. And how long you can be there
comes
into play a lot.
Because it's not like we could have just moved to be together.
No, I mean, if we could have, it would have not been a long-distance relationship. It would have been like, all right, done.
Yeah. New Jersey, Toronto, Canada, clash of the cultures.
Oddly, yeah. Enough. Canada,
I was
States.
a little being sarcastic, but I take it back. I'm being serious now.
Canadians and Americans are not as similar as you think they are and have lots of different tics, patterns.
Yeah, little
I was from a very urban area. You were from... You grew up in much more of a rural area.
So interestingly, when we were first talking about doing a video like this, and a lot of people had asked us to do a video like this too, I just searched on YouTube long distance relationship because I wanted to see like what are people interested in seeing, what are people talking about, that kind of thing. I think it's good to research anything before you start making it. And one of them like most popular types of videos on YouTube are like compilations of people who are in long distance relationships meeting up for the first time.
I know many folks are in long distance relationships and they've never met their partner.
Yep.
We had already met in person. We didn't meet online, which I know that's like another, that's another really common thing. You meet online and I think it's good. I think people knock that a lot, and I think that's a load of hooey is what I think that is.
Yeah.
But that was not our case. We actually did meet in person.
We have a video that we've posted like a month ago or so.
And then it's gonna go here.
Yeah.
It's gonna go right here.
Here is how we met. So we'd already met just like for a day, and then we were apart, but we started talking constantly, immediately after.
Much immediately.
But interestingly, from the first time we met, there was like a couple of months, it was February till May, until we saw each other again. So we kind of almost had that like meeting for the first time moment, only because during that time we'd confessed to each other that we had feelings and all this, so
but nothing was
a lot
solidified.
No, it wasn't like we're gonna start dating or anything. It was just like I have feelings. So the thing is, like all those videos I was talking about, it's always like people running up to each other at the airport and embracing and having their first kiss, and it's like I related to that because when we were preparing to see each other for the first time after we told each other our
that
feelings.
Was the fantasy.
That was the fantasy.
That was like totally, we're like, this is gonna go down like this.
Yeah, I was like, you have to give me a big kiss and like, sweep me off my feet.
It didn't happen. Because of someone.
Listen, I'll take full responsibility.
Getting embarrassed and bashful.
I'm an extroverted person. I have no trouble talking to strangers or anything like that. But suddenly when being faced with this moment I had built up in my head, this big Disney moment where I wanted to like embrace you and just like have this moment, my heart and brain were like, oh, we're dying. We're dying right now. And I was just so nervous that I could barely look at you. I had built that moment up in my head to be so big, and I think
that's
down.
Healthy, though. I think...
Oh, good. I'm glad you think that.
Oh, well, okay. You should never feel like you've failed if you can't perform an act of, like, intimacy.
Yeah.
And I'm making that as general and vague as possible because I think it applies to a million billion things. And that can even just mean, like... So you've built up the first kiss, or you've built up...
I built up the first kiss so much. I did. I honestly did.
No, for sure. No, like, because I think that's what happened.
You did. But I think a really key thing to think about is that so much of what long-distance relationships consist of is you being by yourself.
Yes.
And so to work through your feelings of lonesomeness, to work through your feelings of missing someone, you tend to really dwell on the anticipation. You tend to cheer yourself up by thinking, well, I'm going to see them and then it's going to go like this and I'm going to hug them and I'm going to hold them and tell them how important they are to me. And so a lot of what that relationship consists of is awaiting the next time you see that person.
Yes.
So it's understandable that you build up those moments because they're kind of all you have. I mean,
yes and no. I mean,
physically,
I think especially maybe for the first one, it's bigger than ever.
Yeah.
We saw each other pretty often, but there were a couple of periods where it would be like 4 months.
Yeah.
And like that was really rough.
Yeah,
that was really rough.
I was able to come visit her a lot more
because
than
of your job.
Because of my job. I was able to, and the thing is, I was also able to stay for like 3 weeks at a time.
Basically pushed as long as you could as a visitor visa would allow, and I think that's a really awesome privilege we had.
Yeah,
and a lot of other people maybe don't have that privilege of being able to have that flexibility to do that. I know I didn't. In the end, because of your flexibility, it made it so much easier for you to come because you could work there for...
It was almost like a little test, too. Not like in a bad way, but like a, can we be in a confined... I mean, because this is the thing, like when you're in a long distance...
It's living together.
It's living together. Yeah. When you're in a long distance relationship, it's hard to know how you're going to be spending from no amount of time to like... We're in a confined space and we're together for a month. It's really easy in a long distance relationship to feel like you're kind of just...
half there.
Yeah. Like you're not really a big priority to that person because you're not physically there, and that's a hard thing. So something that we did to combat that is like we had dates. Like we put them in the calendar. They were just as respected as a regular date.
We would make dinner.
We'd both make dinner in our own homes.
We'd have a shared dinner, and like I think that's super important. And just talking about dates, I think that the concept of having specific times, routines, and goals is essential to the survival of a long distance relationship. I think again, we always would know when we were going to see each other next.
That's a big thing.
And that's huge. And that goes back to that scheduling. Because when you don't, and there were a couple of times where we really kind of didn't know, it's horrible.
It sucks. It sucks when you don't know. Because it just feels bleak. It just feels endless. You're just like, well, I don't even know when I'm going to see you next. Like, where is this? What's happening? I feel like I don't have something to look forward to.
Well, it's true. And it's so easy. Our brains shut down really fast when we don't have tangible, things to hold on to. Yeah. No matter what happened, at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, we were talking to each other.
Yes. She would call me every morning and wake me up and say good morning. Even if it was just for 2 minutes, it was just like, good morning, hope you have a good day. You had this one job at one point where you were driving...
I was driving about an hour.
For an hour there and an hour back, and we talked.
The whole time.
Both ways, every single day.
And then we would talk when we got home, but that was, hell, if you're commuting...
You have to really like each other to do this.
Oh, yeah. Well, jumping back, neither of us ever... I never thought I'd be in a long-distance relationship.
Oh, me neither.
Nor did I have a desire to.
Nope.
I'm just gonna be honest, I really didn't think highly of long-distance relationships.
Me neither.
For myself.
I had already been in one, and I was like, nope.
Yeah. I was
not doing that. Sorry.
These can't work.
No.
These are just gonna lead to me being unhappy.
I had very poor feelings about it. It was hard. It was really hard.
But then we had one.
But then we did it.
And
so the joke's on us.
Yeah.
Some of the main keys that we think are important in making a long-distance relationship work is that the people involved have to be committed to the communication. So when there are breakdowns in long-distance relationships, it's because one person feels taken for granted or a person isn't putting in time and effort. And what time and effort mean is person to person, and it's different for everyone. But that's where breakdowns happen in long-distance relationship, is where one person is kind of... not putting in that time, not putting in that effort. So you have to be really, you don't have to have a serious relationship, but you have to be serious about making sure the other person feels heard, respected, paid attention to.
Caring to figure it out when something doesn't go right.
Yeah.
As you you grow and you have relationships, it becomes much more transparent when both parties are willing to do that work.
Mm-hmm.
versus one party's really doing that work and the other is just
putting in the day.
Making the complaints, but not making the effort on themselves.
Yeah. What were some of the hardest times for you in a long-distance relationship with me?
Some of the hardest times, again, we go back to the element of the fact that we lived in different countries. We tried lots of different ways. First, we were thinking about getting you to come to the States. Visas, because like you might be able to get like an entertainment visa, blah blah blah. Not going to go into that.
Yeah, that's its own entire different thing.
And it's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Basically, long story short, lots of different avenues. Yeah. Lots did not work.
Lots of things didn't work all the time.
We tried nonstop. Basically, from the start, we're like, all right.
Literally, after we started dating.
I'm like, I want to move here. I'm going to move here. Yeah. Or you're, like, we're going to be together.
Yep, and then it was, I'll move there. Like, we just kept trying, and unfortunately, things didn't work out, 5 times.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
That was the hardest thing of getting to that point. You're doing everything you can to be together.
Yeah.
Things beyond your control.
Money, location. Yeah. So many
legality.
things. Yeah.
And I think when those things came up is when I had the hardest time, because then it was just like, this relationship I really care about and this person I sincerely love and this healthy relationship might be lost
because of
something that I can't help. Yeah. And I mean, that was also a real conversation we had that if we couldn't make this work, like if we didn't have a tangible plan and we couldn't be together, we didn't want to be in a long distance relationship for period of time. Yeah. It didn't want to be this thing where we're both like unhappy about that, because we were happy in our long distance relationship, but if it never ended, we wouldn't have been happy.
No, we wouldn't have been.
So
you have to, I mean, that's
you have to have really good point.
You have to have an end goal with a long distance relationship, even if it's like 2 years from now. The human body can
Go on. No. I love this start.
A human person can learn to be okay with things if they know that it's going to end at some point.
Yes.
But if you are like, this seems somewhat open-ended and I don't know when we're going to be together, it feels very hopeless. It feels like
it impacts
everything. I guess we're just doing this. Like, I don't know if we're ever gonna.
It can turn a really healthy relationship into a chore. Yeah. And it can turn it into like something that you resent. And
that's the worst. That's the worst.
If that happens, if you're in a position like that, I think you need to really need to re-examine that with your partner. I mean, those were the hardest points when it was just like,
for me too.
Oh God, this didn't work out. I want to just be super clear about what I mean about goals. Goals, it doesn't necessarily mean that like, okay, we're going to be together by this date. If we're not together by this date, we're done.
Yeah.
I think that can put a lot of strain and it's very unrealistic in many cases. Mm-hmm. When I talk about goals, I talk about the fact that if something doesn't work, working together to create a new tangible plan.
Yeah.
To basically
that everybody feels good about.
Exactly. Yeah. Working together to make something substantial and concrete.
Yeah. It's making sure that everybody feels good with what's happening too, and that requires a lot of checking in and a lot of communication. We're just gonna keep circling back to that.
But I mean, you know what? That's the super cut of the video. It's communication.
Yeah, it is hard to have a long distance relationship. That's the long and short of it. But if you are willing and both parties are equally committed and willing to making it a successful one where both people are healthy and appreciated, it can work. I mean, we're proof that it can work because now, I mean, you've been living in Canada for coming up on a year now, and, you know, we're married and stuff.
We were married and very happy.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of work to get
there. So much work.
Personal work, legal work. Yeah. You cannot have any healthy relationship without communication and honesty. A long-distance relationship will crumble immediately without those things.
You cannot play games. If you do any of that stuff,
it falls apart.
You don't have to be perfect coming into a relationship. I've learned so much from you on how to have an honest conversation, how to express myself. I feel like I've come so far just through being with you and through learning from mistakes of how I can best honor myself and honor you through conversation.
My relationship with you has helped me grow as a person and has helped other relationships in my life, because I feel like the lessons I've learned with you, they apply everywhere, you know? Mm. And I think
give everyone lots of attention.
If your relationship improves every element of your life, fight for that tooth and nail. And mine did.
Well, that's kind of our 2 cents about...
It's way more than 2 cents.
It's kind of hard to condense all of our thoughts into such a short, compressed video, so it's a
complicated issue.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing.
It's relationships.
Anyway, we just want to say to anyone who's going through a long-distance relationship that there is hope, there is light. There are a lot of people who are going through this with you. You're not alone in doing it, and that we wish you so much luck and strength, because it's not an easy thing to do. And,
no. And you're okay.
Yeah.
Feeling bad about it is okay. Having conflict is okay. Acknowledging that it's tough is okay.
Yeah.
Because that's honesty. And honesty is what's going to save you and get you through it.
Okay, well, we'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.
Bye.